Hi everyone, welcome to Thrive Thursday. I am Jen Fredericks here with Lori Kuhn and Judy Dano. And Lori is the writer and author of this article called Energy Environment this week. And I'm excited to hear her thoughts and inspiration behind the article. So I'm going to throw it right over to Lori.
Thank you, Jen.
You're welcome. What inspired you?
My inspiration behind the article was it's something I'm passionate about. And it's also something that I'm very aware that not a lot of people pay attention to. And since my experience is always based on the energy in an environment, and that's how I respond to people and how I act in my environment, I'm fascinated by how little is known about it. Because as I started researching energy environment, I could both come up with a lot of environmental things, not actual energy in your environment. And so I was fascinated by the fact that there's nothing out there on that particular topic. So I thought I'd write about it.
Sure.
And so the premise behind it is I just wanted to bring an awareness to people that they do carry an energy into an environment. It does impact people. And just to pay attention and nurture the energy and be responsible for the energy that they're carrying into places or around different people.
Super cool. And I starred this. This is your very first sentence of the article, and I love it. This has the single most influence in your life, but you tend to it the least.
Yes. And I know some people tend to it in different ways. Like if people have a health regimen, or they sleep well, or they make sure they're eating well, that all contributes to your energy. But we never really look at the actual energy, like what. And it was interesting because we were talking to a client today, and he said they just switched office buildings, and that the energy's above everybody else's. The energy's a buzz. It's like really exciting, and everybody's happy. And he's like, I just want to keep it this way. And I'm like, well, you can do that. There are ways to keep your energy up. There are ways to nurture it so you can maintain that level of energy, because it's a really cool, exciting energy, and everybody likes to be in that type of energy. But we never look at how we maintain that or how we keep that. Because what I know to be true is when the energy is down, we also carry that with us. So if we're in an environment, especially all day, where we're in a negative energy, we bring that home. And now, as I say in the article, we're spewing that on others in our family or wherever we're going.
Yeah, and I would notice it as well. I didn't have the vocabulary or language around it before starting this work, but I would notice that I could go into crowds and be in one mood and come out of a crowd or a conversation with one person and be in a completely different mood, and not because anything was done to me or a thought was altered or anything. It was just me absorbing the other person's energy without understanding that I can manage and tend to my energy and keep myself where I want to experience life without having others either bring me up or bring me down.
Yeah.
And so the thought when I learned that everything is energy and that you can influence that blew my mind, and it still does to this day. And I'm excited to start studying more about energy and how it influences.
I think the really cool thing is that when we're talking about energy, we're talking about not just energy from the individuals that are within an organization or that you're interacting with, but we're also talking about the collective energy of that whole environment. So, again, the client that we met with this morning talked about that in terms of it being people coming up to him and saying, it just feels different. So I want to kind of articulate that so people can understand exactly what we're talking about in terms of, what we mean by this. What is energy? What is energy environment? What is, it's like you said, going into a crowd and absorbing kind of the energy of the crowd. Well, in kind of normal human terms, that's like somebody walks in the room, and if they're upset about something, we can feel that. It's palpable. We can, and we can either have choice in that influencing us or not. And that's where I think it's really cool about what we're talking about, or what you're talking about in the article is, how do we maintain it? How do we take care of our energy so that we don't get pulled into people's negative energy? Or how do we, be able to take care of our energy and walk into a room being positive, or whatever it is, however it is that we need to be. We do that a lot when we're going into meetings. We will intend and fix our energy before we go into a meeting so that we're bringing a valuable energy into a meeting.
Yeah, and that's interesting because we spend a lot of time preparing or setting our intentions for when we go into a different space, or how we're going to present ourselves and things of that nature, but we don't go into how do I want to feel when I'm in that space, what's the energy I want to carry. Or if you're in a toxic environment, What do I not want to pick up from that
Exactly,
space?
exactly.
I was experiencing that in a past position, and again, I didn't have the language around what I was feeling, but I knew that I didn't want to leave the feeling of my car and go into the building and absorb that energy and then go home and take that with me, because I was starting to understand that the energy I carried with me affects the energy and environment around me. So I could be in a great mood in my car driving to work, and then go into the building and come out a whole different person, and then take that to my home, and then that could rub off on my family, and they would become entirely different people as well,
Oh,
just
yeah.
based on us not being aware that we can tend to our energy. And so somehow I figured out, well, if for me at the time, I would say like, I am surrounded by, for me it was God's white light, and I want to feel love and light today. And so I would do that every time before I set foot in the building, and I found that my day went a lot differently and better.
Yeah, I mean, I do that from an aspect of, if I do know those moments where I'm like stressed or a little frustrated, and I'll go home and the kids will be talking to me and I'll correspond with them, but I let them know
Yeah.
I'm not in a good place. So I keep my energy away from that, because I'm like, I know I'm not in a good place. And one of the things we teach is be good with not being in a good place.
Yes.
And so I'm aware of that, but I don't want, because I know it's enmeshment, I know that they're going to pick that, or entanglement, so I know they're going to pick that up from me. So I don't want to spread it. So I kind of just stay low the day, or until I feel better, and I don't want to spread that on them, or bring down the energy of the environment. So I'll simply say, I'm just going to lay low. If you need anything, let me know. And then I just kind of stay out of everybody's way, because I don't want to dump that on them, and I know I have the potential to do that.
Right. I think it was in the Playing with the Author, you talked specifically about the personal responsibility of your own energy. And so, it's like, how can I be responsible for what's going on in this, in this space of mine? And that's what I hear you saying, is that, I can be responsible for it. I can know that I'm in a bad place. I can let other people know that I'm not in a great place right now. And that gives them the ability to stay out of my energy also.
Right.
Yeah, and not dump it on somebody else.
And in an extended version of this article that I have, I talk about from a leadership standpoint, or from an influencer, and how there's a responsibility as an influencer to manage the energy of a team, and to manage the energy of your employees, and how it's done the same way you do it with yourself, because there is an energy to your team, and everybody knows it. I mean, if you ask any boss, what's the energy of your team, they're going to have an idea of what the energy of their team is, but yet they don't do anything with it.
Right.
And so just knowing that there are things you can do with your energy, there are ways you can nurture and influence the energy in your environment or in your people, I think is really powerful information to have.
I agree. And one thing I really want to acknowledge you for is bringing our awareness to this and having the discussion around it today. And then I also really want to thank you for including in the article ways and examples of ways that people can start to tend to their energy if that's not something that they're used to doing. And so you provided 3 questions to bring awareness to your energy environment. How would you describe your energy environment? Home, work, social settings. What energy are you bringing into the environment? And how are you managing and using your energy? So as people are starting to think about these questions, what is one tip you can give them to kind of answer those questions for themselves?
I guess the tip that I would give them is awareness. I mean, it all starts with awareness. You can't do what you're not aware of.
Right.
And so when you walk into work, and one of the things that Judy and I were talking about earlier today was doing and being. And so it's just being aware of who you're being as you're going throughout your day, who you're being in that environment, and is that who you want to be? And is that how you want to feel? A lot of it's just connecting with your inner alignment. Do I feel good? Do I want to feel this way? How am I connecting to this person? Does it feel good? It's all about just reconnecting back to yourself and how you feel moment to moment in each situation.
Awesome. Thank you so much for this article and the tips on how to make life better for people if they choose to do that. Any closing thoughts, Judy?
My biggest closing thought is that everything is energy, and so if you really understand that, and you can learn tools to figure out how to navigate that, and those questions are such a great start for it. Just play with it, practice, pay attention what's going on right now for you as you're sitting or walking or doing what it is that you're doing, and bring it back in here and just pay attention.
Awesome. Lori, closing thoughts?
Closing thoughts. No, I don't. I mean, I agree with what Judy was saying. Yeah, just it's that awareness component.
Yeah.
Again, not a topic that we regularly talk about in our society, and I think it's great that we're starting to hear. If you are interested in this topic and you'd like to learn a little bit more on how you can manage your energy environment and how you can find your inner alignment so that you are living the way that you want to and making your life better, give us a look on the website, thrivehdc.com. We have some great classes coming up that can help you start to maneuver your energy as well. Thank you, Lori. Thank you, Judy.
Yeah,
Thank
thanks.
you.
Bye.
Bye.